44, Preview 1, keep on the Borderlands. Let's click on this one first. Okay. Disclaimer. Everything seen in this preview server Lamannia is not a final and is subject to change or removal before live release. Standard stuff. Preview 1 of Update 44 is open. It will remain open until sometime in the late afternoon Eastern of Thursday, October 31st, tomorrow. There will be a dev event on Wednesday, October 30th from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, where members of the DDO team will be available to collect feedback and answer questions in real time on Lamannia. Keep on the Borderlands Adventure Pack. 4 dungeons. 8 are expected in the Adventure Pack, but only 4 are currently available for preview. New Adventure Area, I think that means new Slayer Zone, new Wilderness Area, and a new public space. Pretty cool. New named loot, and amounts. In addition to those main features, there are an assortment of smaller changes and our bug fixes listed below. I'm just going to skim this stuff. I don't want to read through every last bit of it, but I'm going to give you the link in case you want to, pull it up on your own. Cacao. Let's see. Base attack speed for bows and throwing weapons has been adjusted for better experience in heroic levels. Dodge values can no longer be reduced below 0. Thunderstroke no longer goes through spell absorption. Rend the Soul no longer puts Thunder Strike on cooldown. Just quickly read this. Skim this stuff. This was interesting. Items that grant negative spell power now also grant equivalent amount of poison spell power. So this is something new. There wasn't a poison spell power before. So I thought they were moving away from poison spells because, like in Update 38, there were a couple druid spells that did poison damage, and they changed them to do acid damage instead. So I thought they were trying to move away from poison damage because there wasn't anything that affected poison damage. There wasn't poison spell power, so I thought they were moving away from it, but now they're adding poison spell power. Or they're at least grouping it in with negative spell power. So, that was interesting. Several new Night Rebels weapons that were dealing piercing instead of their standard damage types now deal their standard damage types. This is, I'm not sure I really understand this. Quests. Crystal lasers and mirror puzzles have been updated. Lasers sources no longer shoot a beam unless there is a mirror at the end of it. I mean, why would that be? I mean, I know that there was that tragedy in Strimtom's live stream where somebody got blasted, but it's a laser. Why does it need to no longer shoot a beam unless there's a mirror at the end of it? How am I supposed to troll my guildies in Temple of the Deathworm? Come on. Correcting an issue where the laser fails to appear on a valid match. So that's cool, because that's frustrating. You hit a mirror, it doesn't bounce off. You're like, okay, turn it around again. Hope that it does. Sometimes it'd have to turn that mirror around, 2-3 times. That was pretty irritating. So hopefully it will be more reliable. Added new footstep sounds for players adventuring on grave-like terrain, and audited other footstep sounds. And looking for group menu, open group listing for classes now properly includes warlocks and will no longer include epic levels as per class designation. There's a new plus side tab off the stats tab of the character sheet menu. This is interesting that it displays the following statistics. So we're getting a lot more stats on the character sheet. So avoidance, there's going to be incorporeality and concealment shown, saving throws, all these separate saving throws, which is helpful because there's so many things now. I mean, going back a few years, there weren't nearly as much, but now there's so many little things that, give you bonuses to specific things. Save versus spells, save versus traps, save versus fear, enchantment, curses, all this stuff. So that'll be nice. Elemental defenses. They're including absorption. That's pretty cool. It'll be neat to see how that's tabulated with multiple sources of absorption. Movement speed multiplier, spell cost reduction, spell threat multiplier, spell penetration bonuses, general combat, fortification bypass, dodge bypass, melee combat, one-handed attack speed bonus, two-handed attack speed bonus, quarterstaff attack speed bonus, shield attack speed bonus, offhand crit chance, offhand hit chance, offhand double strike, glancing blow damage, glancing blow proc chance, melee threat multiplier, range combat. So it's interesting. They're adding all these things to the character sheet. Helpful. Good. This will be nice. This is a tiny little change, but is helpful. The member list in the guild panel now properly displays the proper class icons if you have 3 classes and epic levels on a character. Before, like, there was only room for 3 icons. So if you had 3 classes and epic levels, like, one of the icons got pushed off and you couldn't really see, looking at your guild list, like who was what level. The member list in the guild panel now properly displays. Let's see, hardcore leaderboard now. No, it's not very exciting. This is nice. When a character dies, the text in the combat log telling you how you died is now an eye-catching red. Yes. Because, man, I'm telling you, sometimes you're looking for that real quick, because there's so many things that show up in that combat log that, it's just going to scroll away before you can find it, trying to find it buried in all of the other stuff. Especially when you die, you get 50 messages of this effect has been removed from you, this effect has been removed, this effect has been, and it's trying to sift through all that on the fly is a pain. Now it'll stand out nicely. So when we see messages like Ginger Spice was killed by Ginger Spice, I'll see it right away. Or Ginger Spice was killed by something. These are actual messages. If you're not a connoisseur of the combat log and looking at how you died, these are actual death causes as listed in the combat log on occasion. You were killed by something. I'm not kidding you. or you were killed by you. How does this happen? This is nice. The quest panel in the Adventure Compendium now displays Heroic Quest level and Epic Quest level in separate columns and allows you to sort them separately. It'll be so nice when you just want to, I just want to see Epic Quests. Sort by Epic level. Awesome. Long overdue. Better late than never. The quest panel in the Adventure Compendium now defaults to sorting by Heroic Quest level and remembers your most recent sort order when reopening the window. Finally. That was a bug. It used to do that. It used to remember the order, and then many years ago, it's just given us this. I don't know how it orders it now, but it's not by level. It's not by anything useful. Maybe it's alphabetical. I don't know. But it's nice that it'll remember. Known issues. Let's see. Okay. Let's take a look at Keep on the Borderlands now. Disclaimer. So, for those of you who don't know, Keep on the Borderlands is our classic module for this year, and it was module B2, a very significant module in the history of Dungeons & Dragons pen and paper play, because it was the module that came with the basic, box set of Dungeons & Dragons for many years. So this was like the first module I ever owned. For a lot of old-timer pen and paper players like me, it was the first module you ever owned, so this was like, it's pretty cool to see Keep on the Borderlands come to life in DDO. This adventure pack comes in both a Heroic level 1 to 2 variant and Epic level 21 to 22 variant. To access Keep on the Borderlands on the preview server, if you are not a VIP, simply speak to Laura. Okay, that doesn't really matter, because it's going to change anyways. Keep on the Borderlands is expected to contain, when released on live, a new public area, an adventure area, and 8 dungeons. In this preview, however, only the public area, adventure area, and the following 4 dungeons are available to preview: Caged Beasts, the Bugbear Bandits, Treasure Hunt, and Watch Your Step. I'm so excited! I'm more excited for Keep on the Borderlands than any content for a very, very long time. Like, I'm more excited about this than Sharn or Ravenloft or any classic module in the past. Not that that stuff wasn't any good, I'm excited about this. Known issues. XP pass hasn't been done yet. Large amount of placeholder text. Load screens are all placeholder. Fire beetles currently look suspiciously mechanical. We're getting fire beetles. I mean, we knew when we saw those mechanical beetles in Sharn that they would, reskin those to make other kinds of beetles. So it sounds like they are, and that's awesome. Okay. Not a whole lot there. Named loot. So I was looking at this stuff a bit last night, and this stuff is very underwhelming. I understand that it's level 1. One of the comments I made in the Players' Council forum when they were talking about potential loot is, I said, I thought they did a really, really awesome job of the low-level loot in the Sharn Syndicate chain when they did that loot pass, I don't know, a year or 2 ago. And we got items like Quan's Band and the Runic Trinket and Bellows Ring. These were really nice, like, level 2 items. So I said, I'd really like to see you guys do something like that. Those were meaningful items, but red robes of charity with heal +3 and a blue slot. Like, how is that not just randomly generated? Why make a named item if it's just going to be like basically the same as randomly generated stuff? Dawson of Defense, Fortification 38 with a slot. I mean, this is a snooze fest. Faded Leathers, Fortification 38 with a blue slot. I mean, it's like a joke. I'm expecting them to come out and be like, oh, we were kidding, guys. Like, again, I realize it's level 1, but I can get randomly generated crap, that's better. I would expect, why not on the armor? Give it, Spearbane or something. I mean, that crap's on Korthos gear. So why not, throw something on there like that? At least make it a little bit more useful. Hey, some clever name here. I need to change the name of the stream because I was doing Night Rebels, but then I started talking about Keep on the Borderlands. So we're going to change the name of the stream to Discussing Update 44 Lamannia Release Notes. Make sure that I spelled Lamannia correctly. Yep. So I really think that this named loot needs more, because that's just silliness. Mantle of Gentle Descent, a cloak that has feather falling, and a slot. A cloak of Attraction, a cloak that has Haggle and Bluff 3 and a slot. Another cloak that has Dex 1 and a slot. Like, really? Why bother? Eye slot, search and spot 3 with a slot. Okay. Seems like it might be a, you know, I guess that's a decent trapper item, you know, for the first couple levels. It's level 1 to 2 for heroic, level 21 to 22 for epic. Another set of goggles with blindness immunity and a yellow slot. Why not give it like a detect secret doors clicky too? Or some, you know, at least that would make it a little more interesting. Not OP, but this is, again, I understand it's level 1, but you could do a little bit more. Get a little bit more creative, please. Feet slot. Boots with jump +3, tumble 3, and a slot. Another set of boots. Geyer's Boots of Dashing has striding 3% and a slot. Striding 3%. Really? Isn't there a striding 5 item in Korthos? Another Hardy Boots Con 1 with a green slot. Like, no, thank you. Hand slot. Gloves of the Scoundrel. Open lock 3, disable 3, green slot. Okay. You know, those gloves and those goggles, that seems like it'd be cool level 1 trapper gear. Again, could add, you know, 1 clicky of detect secret doors. Make it a little more interesting. Granite Grippers, hand slot. Strength 1 with a blue slot. Nope. Dusk Palm, hand slot. Dodge 1 with a yellow slot. That should be called Face Palm, not Dusk Palm, because seriously, guys. Head slot, Helm of Clarity. Intelligence 1 with a green slot. Rider Chapeau. Charisma 1 with a blue slot. Bulwark Helm. Protection 1 with a yellow slot. Okay, ring slots. Combustion 38, Wizardry 19. How about potency 12 on it? As well. Maybe if all of these spell power and wizardry rings had like potency 12, you should have, that should be at least wizardry 25, I think. Put a low amount of potency on there. Okay. Ring of Spellcasting, spell sight +3, concentration +3. How about 2% universal crit chance? on that too. Make it more interesting, because that's just like... I don't know. I think it's got to be a little bit more. Okay, offhand slot. Shields. Small shield. Aegis of the First Watch. Sheltering 3. Blue slot. Glory's Guard. Large shield. Hollowed 1. Sacred 1. Blue slot. How about +2 charges of Turn Undead? How about 1 extra charge of Turn Undead? Weapons, Sworn Silver. So I was talking to Gijo about this, like, last night when we were talking about this. Well, Protection 3 and Resistance 3 would be high for a level 1 item. But, you know, a helm with Protection 1 and Resistance 1 and Dodge 1, with all 3 of those at 1 with a slot, that might be kind of neat. That's the thing, Ravenwolf. What the heck do you need silver for? That's a level 2 weapon. +1, silver with a slot. What? You don't need a silver weapon at level 2? Do you? I mean, give me a crafting blank that has silver and a red slot, you know? Okay, that's more so. Ethereal something. Oh, 1 of every weapon type. Will be +1 ghost touch with a red slot. Okay, if you want to make this interesting, guys, combine those two. Instead of having 1 of every weapon type that's a Sworn Silver weapon type, and 1 of every weapon type that's an Ethereal weapon, combine those two so it's +1, silver, ghost touch, red slot. That's a little interesting. But now you're going to make 1 weapon of every type for each of both of... I mean, that... Come on. Scepter of Spell Power type. Spellcasting implement 2. Spell lore type 6%. Spell power type 43. Okay. Sure. I'm not going to complain about that one. Trying to be fair here. Wrist slot. Traveler's Bracers. Fire resistance 4, cold resistance 4, blue slot. How about +5 resistance to all elements? Is that OP? I mean, since we got, you know, 30 resist from our guild buffs, is +5 to all type, is that OP? I still wouldn't use it. But this, it's just a waste, a complete waste of time. Defensive wrists. You know, but when Hardcore League Season 2 comes out next year, you know, half of this stuff is like, oh, I gotta get this stuff. You know, this is all going to be about gearing up your hardcore tunes, right? Defensive wrists. Sheltering 3 with a yellow slot. Well, just, I mean, I remember when I just came over from Pen and Paper, there was stuff that I thought I was going to love, and then I realized, you know, like in DDO, the stats are scaled differently, so that it's really just it's a little bit misleading for a pen and paper person to come over to DDO. Nimble Wrist, Resistance 1 green slot. Like I said, if there was an item that had like Resistance 1 and Protection 1 and Dodge 1 with a slot, that might be kind of neat. But yeah, I mean, what would be awesome in pen and paper and what's awesome in DDO are two very different things. Okay, that's the heroic stuff. Now we're going to get to the epic named loot. Cloak slot, Black Feather Cloak. Feather Falling, Parrying 4, Physical Sheltering 25, Insightful Physical Sheltering 12. I really wish they would just bring back Sheltering so that it affected both. I hate that it's been split up. And that now we have Physical Sheltering items and Magical Sheltering items. But that's not a bad cloak. Resonant Cloth, Insightful Resonance, Insightful Devotion, Quality Resistance 1, Insightful Dodge 4, Yellow Slot. That's not bad. Could we be jaded by Gears? I mean, if I guess if I'm jaded at all, it's through the lens of other gear that's available in the game, and if this is a pay classic module, I'd like to see things to be a little bit better. And on that heroic side especially. I mean, so far in this epic stuff, this seems pretty cool. The magnifying lens, I'm not a trapper, but I was, Gijo is, and I said, well, that seems pretty cool. You got everything plus 18 there on one slot, and he was like, well, I can use these other items and get plus 20 to those at 20, and, so, Gijo, who loves his trappers, is looking at that going, no. But like I said, I thought, I don't do trappers anymore. I looked at that and thought, oh, that's kind of neat. It's like a low-level version of the keylock ring that had everything on it, but I guess the stats just aren't really, good enough. Black Feather Boots. This is an interesting set of boots. Feather Falling, Freedom of Movement, Speed 30, Riposte 4, Blue Slot. I like it. Thumbs up. Boots of Tranquility, Life Sealed 28. That's like a death block, negative energy absorption ability. Constitution 10, Concentration 18, Resistance 8. Okay. Finger Slot, Ring of Brutal Force, Strength 10, Fort 8. Why do they split up the saves? Why can't you just give it resistance plus 8? Why just fortitude? Why? Profane Well-Rounded plus 1. Profane Life Force. That's interesting. So this is a new kind of false life thing called Profane Life Force. I don't think we have that on anything else. So 33 stacking hit points. Okay, cool. Empty green slot. Ring of, yep, so it will stack. Ring of Subtle Villainy. Dexterity 8. Again, just Reflex 8. Why not Resistance 8? Profane Well-Rounded, Profane Life Force 33, empty blue slot. I'm sensing a pattern. So here's the next one. Intelligence 10, Spell Save 8. That's way more interesting. Spell Saves 8. That's freaking cool. Why not just put Spell Save 8 on the other ones? Profane Well-Rounded, Profane Life Force 33. Ring of Blind Devotion, Wisdom 10, Will 8. Right, because a Wisdom build needs more Will save. But that's not gonna... People are... you want a resistance item, not just individual bonuses. So let's get rid of this separating out and just doing will save, or just doing reflex. That really bothers me. Profane well-rounded, profane life force, green slot. Ring of crystalline vanity. Charisma 10. Enchantment resistance 8. Okay, I like that better than, reflex 8. Because, reflex 8 isn't going to stack with, like, resistance 8. It's just redundancy. But enchantment resistance 8 will stack with resistance 8. Because that's 8 more to just enchantment spells. Profane well-rounded 1, Profane life force 33, empty blue slot, Whispering ring, finger slot, assassinate 5, insightful deception 4, quality accuracy 3, quality deadly 2. I don't know anything about assassin stats, so we'll just move along. Hand slot silver, sigil, gloves. Use magic device 3. Lesser displacement, ghostly pairing, green slot. That's an interesting set of gloves for me because we don't have a lot of ghostly items, so I'm really glad to see another ghostly item added, and it's really interesting to me to have both lesser displacement and ghostly on the same item. I do use an item right now that has that, because it has that on one item, and that is the Epic Elite Ring of Shadows out of Prison of Plains. So this will certainly, I use that item just for those 2 abilities on one space, so this is a potential item that I might, could potentially even use at endgame for Ginger Spice. If I needed to free up that ring slot. I can't remember what do I have on my boots for Ginger at endgame. I don't remember. Oh, I have legendary green still there. Okay, so probably won't use these, but that's still cool boots. What class would I recommend for Warforged Racial Past Lives? I'm not really the best person to ask that, but you can't go wrong with like a nuking Fire Sork. I did that last year to knock out my Warforged lives. But I did that during Night Revels. But, the Warforged, you've got your repair spells for self-healing. So if you like Sorks, not a bad choice, I guess. Druid. I don't know if Druid Warforged would make sense, but Druids at a certain point. I know if you're like an elemental form, you're considered a living construct, and you can now be healed by normal spells. So. You have the level 24 Cloak of Night. It has Ghostly, but you are still getting incorporeal misses. Yeah, Ghostly provides an incorporeality mischance. Ghostly and Ghost Touch are different things. So, Cloak of Night. Oh no, that's the kind of ghostly. Okay, so this is confusing. Because there's something called ghostly that makes your weapons hit through incorporeality. And then there's something called ghostly that gives you a 10% incorporeality. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. I guess it does both. You could. Oh, it does both. Excuse me. Okay, I misspoke. You're still seeing incorporeal mischances. Yeah, I don't know, man. are we? Hallowed Gauntlets. Hallowed 10, Sacred 10, Sheltering 25, Fortitude 8. Gotta get rid of that Fortitude 8 and replace it with either Resistance or some other kind of stacking resistance, because this is just redundance. It's redundant garbage. IMHO. In a blue slot. Not a bad cleric item. Nice to have Hallowed and Sacred on there. Why don't you get rid of Fortitude 8 and put another kind of like, Silver Flame or, whatever. There's, quite a few different kinds of things that affect a cleric's turning ability. So get rid of this stupid Fortitude 8 and give me like +5 turning attempts or, Silver Flame or whatever else, some other kind of thing that's going to affect turning. Gossamer Gloves, Insightful Dodge 4, Reflex 8, Parrying 4, Ghostly, and a slot. Okay. Fury Form Gauntlets. Anger. This will increase the total number of rages you can use. However, these additional rages will only take effect after the wielder rests. So you can't equip it just to get the extra rages. You have to keep it equipped. Melee Alacrity 15, False Life 38, Vitality 33, green slot. Okay. Head slot, Helm of the Dire Cult. Negative healing amplification 40, insightful nullification 57, quality nullification 28, magical sheltering 25. Okay. White Hood of Schemes. Bluff, deception, hide, move silently, blue slot. Sworn Silver Helm, Insightful Accuracy 7, Insightful Deadly 3, Sheltering 25, Protection from Evil +4. Be really neat if that Protection from Evil actually served as a regular Protection from Evil, meaning that you get immunity to mental compulsions like Charms and Domination and Commanded, which doesn't seem to work properly on equipment, but it would be cool if it did. It'd be a lot cooler if you did. Next slot, Necklace of Tranquility. Life Seal 28, Constitution 10, Concentration 18, Resistance 8. There you go, Resistance 8, not Reflex 8 or Will 8 or Fortitude 8, which is redundant garbage, but Resistance 8, which covers all your bases. Thank you, that's the way it should be. Or something else that's stacking. Pendant of Combat. Combat Mastery 8, Accuracy 15, Deadly 8, Melee Alacrity 15%, empty yellow slot. Alright, I'm not a melee person, so I'm just gonna move on. Grats, B-Jack. Once you get about 15 Reaper points, you're gonna really start. You're gonna start to turn a corner. Those first dozen or so Reaper points are hard fought. So I'm glad you appreciate the vids. Thank you for saying, and that you worked up the courage to do Reaper. And like I said, every Reaper point you get is gonna make things easier. But I have found that once you get about that first 12 or 15 points, and you start that next life with about 15 points, you really start to turn the corner in terms of like survivability in Reaper mode, which it sounds like you're struggling with. Okay, Poison Clasp. Transmutation Focus 4, Conjuration Focus 4, Insightful Nullification, Quality Nullification. How many nullification items do we need? Don't we already have one? This helm. Why do we need 2 nullification items? With the same insightful, same quality. See a Raven Wolf. Offhand slot, Twisted Metal, fall, small shield. Shield bashing 15, shield spikes, bleeding 5, speed 30. Empty blue slot. Focal point, large shield, insight 94%, insightful insight 39, parrying 4, protection 8. Sworn Aegis, Tower Shield, Physical Sheltering 25, Insightful Physical Sheltering 12, Parrying 4, Protection 8. Great, that's all stuff I want on a shield. I don't want striding on a shield. Give me shieldy stuff. Have a good one, B-Jack. Hector's Bracers, Buckler, Guard Breaking, Quality Dodge, 2, Parrying 4, Protection 8, blue slot. Orb of Flame. So we got all these orbs too. I don't want to go over every one of them. It looks like there's one for all the different damage, spell damage types. Spellcasting Implement 21, spell lore 17%, spell power 115, insightful spell power 57. Looks like they all have quality, magical sheltering 6, and a purple slot. Okay. I don't use orbs. There you go. There's an orb for everything. Trinket slot. Stoneheart Trinkets. Lesser Displacement, Spell Resistance 22, Insightful Constitution 4, Spell Save 8. That's a cool trinket. Green slot. Serrated Arrowhead. Trinket slot. Crippling, Seeker, Accuracy, Ghostly. That's neat. That's like a better version of the one out of Weapon Shipment. It's almost like a tip of the hat to that item. Cursed Mirror, Trinket slot. Illusion Focus 4, Necromancy Focus 4, Insightful Spell Penetration 2, Quality Spell Penetration 1. Okay, that's cool. Wizards Rejoice. I want to look at something. So that's a level 21 item. It's a trinket. Okay, we can craft Spell Focus Mastery 3 on a trinket in Caneth Crafting on a level 21 trinket, a level 13 to 21. On a level 22 trinket, we can craft Spell Focus Mastery plus 4. It's only plus 4 at 21, so that's... it's not very exciting. And at 22, we could do Insightful Spell Penetration 2. At 23, that would go up to plus 3. But, even though we could craft something that was, comparable or better, we don't have craftable trinkets with slots, so I guess it's not bad. Waste slot. The Dread Ward waste slot. Let's see. Life Seal 28. Curse Resistance 8. Insightful Magical Sheltering 12. Quality Magical Sheltering 6. Empty green slot. Belt of Brutal Force. Insightful Strength 4, Quality Strength 2, Physical Sheltering 25, False Life 38. Blue slot. Belt of Subtle Villainy. Insightful Dexterity 4, Quality Dexterity 2, Physical Sheltering 25, False Life 38. Belt of Wicked Insanity. Insightful Intelligence 4, Quality Intelligence 2. Okay, so there's Insightful 4, Quality 2 for all the stats. That has Physical Sheltering 25 and False Life 38. So it's just it's just one for every stat. It's exactly the same for each stat. Weapons. Epic Sworn. Oh, here we go with the Sworn Silver and the Ethereal for every weapon type. Are the names the same as the heroic stuff? I don't think so. Like, there's not even any belts that match that. There's no belts here, it looks like. So it's different stuff for heroic than for epic. So, with the Sworn Silver, some of them are the same, like Sworn Silver and this Ethereal, these weapons, one for every type. So now we get Silver, Unnatural Bane, 5d10, Destruction, Righteous. Epic Ethereal, Impactful, 5d6, Ghost Bane, 5d10, Weaken Undead, Adamantine. I'm not a melee person, so I can't even speak to this, so we'll just move on. Epic Scepter of Spell Power type. Spellcasting Implement 21, Spell Lore type 17, Spell Power type 115, Insightful Spell Power type 57, and Wizardry 101. Red slot. That's cool because it's going to make an, it says minimum level 2. Sloppy cut and paste job there. That is not going to be minimum level 2. That's going to be minimum level 21, I'm sure. So, it'll be nice low-B sentient weapons for casters. Low-B epic sentient weapons. Wrist slot. Bracers of the Fox. Intelligence 10, Wizardry 203, Insightful Wizardry 101, Magical Efficiency 10%. Why don't you wow us by making it a single set of bracers that has Intelligence 10, Charisma 10, and Wisdom 10 on it. All the casting stats on one item. Is that OP? I mean, because if you're an intelligence-based, if you're one, the others aren't that big of a deal. I mean, Charisma's nice because it affects UMD. Wisdom's gonna affect will saves, but let's add some wow factor to it. When we read this, let's get an Owen Wilson wow, Wow. But it's just not happening. But, it's just okay. Moving on. Golden Glittering Bangle. Use Magic Device 3, Bluff 18, Diversion 15, Dodge 10. Blue slot. Fiend Blood Bracers, wrist slot. Marksmanship. This item is enchanted to enhance your skill with ranged weapons. When using ranged weapons, you gain +2 to your attack rolls and +1 to your damage. Proficiency Longbow, Proficiency Shortbow, Shrieking Bolt. This item resonates with sonic energy on ranged attacks. An attack roll of 20, which is confirmed as a critical hit. It will punish the target with a blast of sound, 10 to 16 sonic damage. A successful fortitude save DC 22 reduces the damage by half. Okay. Well, that's it for gear. Mounts. Update 44 Preview 1 mounts. There's your disclaimer. Mount. Update 44 is expected to include the introduction of mounts for player characters in DDO! Exclamation point. This is pretty cool. Mounts can be accessed in the preview server by speaking to blah blah blah. Mounts can be summoned in public areas or adventure areas. They cannot be summoned or used in dungeons. They're using the term adventure area instead of wilderness area. Mounts grant either, but I'm sure it's the same thing. Mounts grant either 80% movement speed or 100% movement speed depending on the type. Characters may not engage in combat while on a mount. You can dismount by hitting the block key. Defaults to left shift. There's a chance upon taking damage to auto dismount. In this preview, there are 4 different visual variations of horse mounts with an 80% speed version and a 100% speed version of all 4. Known issues. Firing a ranged weapon does not currently dismount you. They really need to make it so you can like fire a bow or cast a spell on these things. It seems like that would be easy to implement. Melee combat, that should still be pretty easy. There's probably a lot of new animations. Maybe in the future. I mean, that would be cool. They could probably get pretty clever with monks. You know, like if you're just using a weapon, you know, but monks would have to be a little more clever. You know, maybe they could do like some gymnastics stuff, you know, like a pommel horse kind of action and bounce all around on the horse. But, you know, that's all it says for mounts. So that's, now there's some pictures of horses. Pretty cool. Nice looking. You can see they scale for size. And you can also see it looks like a half orc. They're not cool. So they need to do a little adjustment there, but you can see that it's bigger for a half orc, and littler for a smaller, looks like a human. But that's cool. Glad we're getting mounts. Alright. Back to Night Rebels.